Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Everything Football. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson. We're on the eve coming up to the Super Bowl. We already know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Pats versus the Eagles. I'm going to let you know right now I'm picking the Eagles. I just think they actually have a chance to sit up there and do this. A nice front seven and all that good stuff. But that'll be another show. I'm just letting you know right now. If it happens, you can say you heard it here first. All right. But no, of course, next week, and I kind of spoke upon this, I think maybe last week sometime or a week before last, about the NFL MVP. And of course, they're going to give this to Tom Brady. Todd Gurley was next in line, but if Carson Wentz would have stayed healthy, Carson Wentz probably would have won the NFL MVP. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tom Brady's going to win his third MVP. And then I got to do some research, and I got to thinking. I just said, wow, Tom Brady wins. This will be his third MVP. Which that's I guess that's a great thing, great accomplishment and all that good stuff and whatnot. But then I looked at it, I just like, wow. I'm like, well, let's look at this. The last two winners of the NFL MVP has been quarterbacks. It's been Matt Ryan last year, Cam Newton the year before that, and both of them end up with losses in that of the Super Bowl. Okay, uh, obviously. Matt Ryan probably hurt the most because that's a game they should have obviously have won. But that's what happens when you don't play four quarters. That's what happens. Carolina Panthers just got whooped up front. They actually played enough good defense to put Manning in check to actually shut him down. But their offensive line got whooped by the defensive front seven, especially the defensive line of the Denver Broncos of that year before last. So I got to look at when is the last NFL MVP to win the NFL MVP as well as win a Super Bowl? And I got to dig and I did some research. I say, wow, it's been since 1990, from the 1999 season, I should say, 2000 Super Bowl, which the 2000 Super Bowl was like Super Bowl 34. That was the Rams and the Titans. In the 99 season, Kurt Warner won the NFL MVP, and and his team, the Rams, won a Super Bowl. The year before that was the last time a running back actually won, was Terrell Davis. In the 98 season, that's the year he rushed for over 2,000 some odd yards, and they won the Super Bowl, I think, versus the Atlanta Falcons. And he was the last running back to win the award, and they won back. It was two back-to-back MVPs that actually won. So it hasn't been a player that won the NFL MVP and won the Super Bowl since the 1998-99 season, last being the 1999 season. Like I said, it was Kurt Warner. And that is a major, major, major stretch from the things going on. So now Tom Brady. Let's go do some research and let's go do a little bit of homework. If we go back to 2007, that's the year when Brady threw for 50 touchdowns, threw 23 to Randy Moss. They went 16-0. They went through the playoffs, 17, 18 wins. They went 18-0, getting ready to go play the Giants, and the Giants were big underdogs, as we obviously know, big underdogs. And from that time, guess what? They actually, the Giants did what they did, kept it low scoring, and they beat them 17-14. That year, I mean, they held them guys to 14 points, if I'm not mistaken. 14 points when they were just blowing everybody out the water that year. Brady won the NFL MVP award. He loses the Super Bowl. 3 years later, 2010 season, or if you want to go into 2010 season, he wins his second MVP. That's the year he only threw 3 or 4 interceptions or something, like 30 some touchdowns. He goes. They lose to the Jets in the divisional round where he pretty much got battered that game. And the way you basically beat Brady is up front, your front seven or your defensive lineman. He got beat then. They lost. They didn't even get to the Super Bowl. They lost in the divisional round. So now here we're coming up again, 6, 7 years later, 7, 8 years, however you want to count it. He's up for it's going to be his third MVP. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say he's going to win it, to win his third MVP. Now he's going against the Philadelphia Eagles, who he actually beat the Eagles in another Super Bowl by 3 or 4 points. That's kind of always the point of that margin of points when they basically beat a team in the Super Bowl. And going against a strong front seven, strong, especially interior linemen. They're really good from. They're really good on defense, and they got a strong running game as well. So we'll see what happens. And he's getting ready to possibly win his other one. So I'm not trying to say it's a curse. I really don't try to get into that, but it's ironic to me that the last NFL MVP to win a MVP and Super Bowl was basically Kurt Warner with the greatest show on turf. Last quarterback, last running back, Terrell Davis. That's a long time. You're talking, I mean, you're talking a good while. You're talking, right at 17, 18. You're talking about 18, 19 years. That's a long time, which means that a lot of MVPs that have held that seat as the reigning NFL MVP award. So you're talking about from 2000, 2001, 2, 3. You haven't had anybody in at least 16 to 17 years, or 17, 18 years that actually won an NFL MVP, even from that of a quarterback. Last time quarterback, like I said, Kurt Warner. That's a long haul. So you could be the NFL's most valuable player, and that doesn't mean that you're going to win a Super Bowl. When you win a Super Bowl, especially if that you are a quarterback. So I'm just throwing that out there. That's an interesting tidbit to see what happens in that particular type, and what happens in that particular game with Tom Brady coming up here in Super Bowl 52. So that's just something I want you guys to check out and look at, go do some research and whatnot, and just to see what happens with NFL MVP players that don't do it all the way. You know what I'm saying? And Matt Ryan was the closest. I mean, it's just they're crazy even thinking about that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Tom Brady may break the mold. Like, ain't no sweat off my back either way. I'm just bringing that information out there just to say that, yeah, this is the interesting game, which makes me kind of lean the way I'm leaning. But you just look at the nuances of it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said, the last 2 times that Tom Brady won an MVP, he did not win the Super Bowl. One, he got in the Super Bowl, lost. That was at the Giants, and the other time he lost to the Jets in the divisional round. So does Tom Brady really even want to win the NFL MVP? That's for all the people that sit up there to talk about the curse, or people get into the whole Madden curse. I don't get into it. I just think it's just interesting of the nuances of when Tom Brady is up for NFL MVP and the circumstances around it that kind of make it like it's different. It's like when that's not really on him and he's not worried about that, he's not really in the running for that or going to win that for all the Super Bowls that he's won. For all the Super Bowls that he's won, he has not been an NFL MVP. He probably was in the running, but he was not. He was not an NFL MVP. He didn't win it. So that's just something I'm looking at, something I'm checking out, and I'm just throwing that up out there for people who probably didn't know that. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna probably be back in a few minutes to talk some more stuff about Tom Brady and some unsung heroes. Just put it that way. All right, y'all stay with. I'll be back in a minute. Y'all stay tuned.